Hello and welcome to Amy Hart's Mums Club. In this podcast, I'll be sharing the highs and lows of being a mum. Plus, each week I'll be joined by a special guest to delve into their experiences of parenthood. And that's not all. This podcast is for you. Each week, me and my gaggle of fabulous guests will be answering your questions and helping you the best that we can. Now, let me tell you about today's guest. Today's guest is a TikTok sensation with her sassy stay-at-home baby series. Please welcome Gemma Alster.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Now, good, thank you. This isn't the first time we've met. We actually met at a Snow White premiere.
We did, sitting, eating popcorn together, laying with blankets up to here. Yeah.
It was a great day.
It was a great day.
Now, let's talk about your life before social media. What was that like?
My life before social media was very private. My husband would probably say no one knew anything about me or about him or about my family. But I actually worked for Deliveroo for about nearly 7 years. It was one of my first jobs. Started when there were about 150 people there, worked in sales, signed up restaurants, loved it, had the best time. And then met Adam, moved in with him, fell pregnant. No, sorry, COVID happened, lockdown happened, fell pregnant, had a baby, and then started posting openly and honestly on Instagram. And it just it literally went from that. I didn't set out to do it. It just happened, which I guess kind of happens with most people on TikTok and
I think so, yeah.
Instagram.
And I feel like it's those people that do really well. People who are like, I'm going to be an influencer, find it harder because they're posting, like there's a reason behind each post. Because I think when you model through mummy and stuff, just sharing your journey, people love that and they sort of buy into it and follow you. So having a baby in COVID, what was that like?
Well, I just remember sitting outside my doctor's office, and it was when Boris was speaking on the radio, and we were sitting there listening. It was his first announcement. This was in March 2020, and he said the most at-risk people of COVID-19 are the elderly and pregnant women. And I just remember bursting into tears. I was like, how am I going to do this pregnancy? Like, what do we do?
How pregnant were you?
I just found out I was pregnant, so no one even knew yet. Obviously, my family did, but I think I was about 7 weeks pregnant at this time. But actually, having said that, it was it was a nice time to just be at home and just be with Adam and be alone and just focus on the pregnancy. I didn't have to think about anything else. I didn't have to. I was still working and I could work from home. Deliveroo at the time blew up because suddenly all these restaurants wanted to be on Deliveroo, obviously, because no one was going to eat in them. It was scary, but it was nice to just be at home and alone. The only thing I would say was that Gigi, my eldest, didn't go anywhere until she was nearly 9 months old. So she had I would say crippling anxiety around new people. She would walk into a room. She would never have been able to walk in here. She would just shake and cry because she wasn't used to people. And it wasn't until she went to nursery that she
actually
chilled out.
Yeah.
And now she's sassy and confident, will talk to anyone.
My friend had a baby during COVID, and her little girl has got this fear of people. We were at church, and one of the guys came out as part of his bit in a motorcycle helmet. And her little girl went crazy because anyone that has their face covered, because all she saw was people in masks.
Oh, that's really
anyone
sad.
that has their face covered doesn't like.
I get that. It did affect them. And then having another baby not in COVID and normal times, it's completely, the parenting's different. The things that I've done with Romy are completely different to what I did with Gigi. Gigi didn't go to a music class until she was nearly 1. Yeah. She didn't go to a restaurant until she was nearly 1. It's just,
you're like, someone else can hold my baby while I have a shower.
No, she didn't. She did see our mums. Well, she saw our families, but she would only really go to our mums. She was quite scared of men for some reason. She was just very, very nervous, which is polar opposite to what she's like now. She's she would sit here and chat to you for an hour.
Yeah.
Easily.
Did you find it quite isolating as well? Is that sort of why you turned to social media as well?
It was isolating because I was actually... One of my friends had a baby. Nobody else did. And when we fell pregnant, everyone was shocked. They literally couldn't believe. We were shocked. We were shocked because we were out 3 times a week, always away, always just, whatever. Read into that what you want. But suddenly we fell pregnant, and then the next week it was lockdown. So it was just this massive life change from every angle. And where was I going with that? What did you just ask me? About being isolating.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were at home, during the pregnancy, I didn't really have many people to talk to because I only had one friend that had a baby, and then when Gigi was born, I didn't go to music classes. She didn't go to nursery. We didn't go to playgroup. I didn't meet anyone. I didn't meet any mums. I had one friend who I could speak to on the phone, and that was it. So I turned to posting just about what I was doing, and then quickly found this like amazing community of mums who were like, I'm going through the same. My daughter also hates bath time and screams like literally like she's being terrorized. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone in this. And that's how it started.
So let's talk about Stay at Home Baby. This is how you like blew up.
Okay.
So that's mainly, was that TikTok mainly?
So Stay at Home Baby blew up on TikTok. I had this idea for a few months. I was at home with my baby. I was at home with my baby alone. Adam was back at work at this point. And I just had this idea to film my very sassy, big, major personality, big attitude of a daughter, to film her day and narrate it as if, obviously by me, as if it was her narrating her day. Had this idea and I was like, I don't know how to edit. I don't really know how to film. And Adam, my husband, just kept saying, just do it. I'm sure it can't be that hard. Like, just do it. And one day I did it, posted it on Instagram for my friends really to see, because I didn't really have much of a following. They all found it. They all loved it. And I had a TikTok account just to stalk people, because obviously in lockdown, you just, followed all the trends, like, all the like, whatever. And one night, about 2 weeks later, woke up in the middle of the night, went to the toilet, came back. My phone was literally going ping, 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 ping. And I thought I dreamt it, because I just was like, that's weird. Woke up the next morning, had 20,000 followers on TikTok, had 5 the day before. And then it just went up and up and up and up. And I had about 5 stay-at-home baby videos. And people were commenting, going, oh my God, there's more, there's more, there's more. So they were all following. And then that's just how it started.
Wow.
And it was from Gigi just being this big, crazy, well, she wasn't even this, I wouldn't even say she was a crazy personality. She just had this attitude and this sass about her. She never went out without sunglasses. She never went out without a handbag. She never went out unless she was full accessorized, and she was 19 months old.
But as well, it's like the comedy comes from you and having that idea of how to narrate things.
It was just very easy to do it because she was so funny. Whatever she did was funny. And people would stop, before I even had Stay at Home Baby, people would stop me in the street and be like, who is this diva? Like, she was just like this iconic little princess. And so it was very easy to actually write the voiceovers because she was just so funny.
Oh, maybe one day I'll have a girl who's like that.
Oh,
I live in hope.
It's a bit scary though sometimes.
Yeah.
And they also like give you, she'll be like, Mummy, I don't like your nails. Why are they not pink? Last night I had my hair in a bun in the shower. Mummy, no, take your hair down. It doesn't look nice. Don't like it. Just like, okay. She's worse than any troll on Instagram.
Yeah. You're like, I can deal with trolling because she is my biggest troll.
From her, really don't like it.
Do you know how many views those initial videos have got now?
They got like millions of views. I don't know the exact number, but they got millions and millions of views. And then she got a bit old for it. And I sort of, not that I didn't realise it. I knew it the whole time. I knew that all these people were watching my baby. But it got to a point, at the time I thought, it's very innocent, it's very funny, it's very lighthearted, okay? I feel comfortable with it because it is such an innocent, such a comedic thing. When she got a bit older, it started to feel a bit precocious because she could understand things, it wasn't quite an attitude anymore. It was her actually just being a bit precocious, a bit facetious and a bit naughty. And I just was like, I'm stopping it now. And also, all these people seeing her, I said, let's try it. I said to myself, let's try and steer it away from Stay at Home Baby into Stay at Home Mum. And that's when I started doing a day in the life of a Stay at Home Mum. And now I would say like 95% of my jobs are for me rather than kids, which is really good. And I like it that way.
It's amazing. Because, well, I suppose as she gets older, then it's like you've got other parents at school and you've got, swimming teachers and dance teachers who are like, you have like a
a preconception of what she's like, yeah.
And you're like, no,
like that,
exactly. Yeah, you're like, it's funny. It's a comedy thing. It's
it
a
wasn't
common
her
character. Like,
exactly. It was like exactly. She was like
GC.
Exactly. She was like the baby GC. She actually was. But exactly, it was my voice putting it on her, and it wasn't her. And when she became a bit older, I started realizing this is now. It's just not. It wasn't funny anymore.
But that's amazing that you can say that and you can acknowledge that and sort of, and then have diverted your content to yourself, because there are a lot of people who don't do that and know that, you know, there's certain thumbnails that will do better, and we won't go into that today. But yeah, did you find it weird ever if like your kids were getting recognised over you, like if you're out and about?
My face was not on my TikTok until for probably nearly a year. Genuinely, it was a little bit, but not really. Those videos got like no views. My husband was always like, any video with me in it, this is what Adam was like, any video with me in it went viral, and it did, and anything with Gigi in it went viral, and anything with me, people were like, who is she? But I would go out, and Gigi was very recognisable. She had this blonde sticky up bunchies, okay, sunglasses on every single day without fail, wouldn't go out without it, still doesn't. And she had this pink handbag, and that's how she went out, whether it was to the park or it was for lunch or whatever. And when people started recognising her, I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. It was always mums or teenage girls, always. But yeah, people didn't, they were like, oh, you're the voice of Stay at Home Baby. And I was like, I am, it's actually my page. So yeah, that was
It is. Sometimes Sam gets a bit like when people are like, "Oh, I thought it was you," and then I saw Stanley, and I knew it was you.
Yeah. But do you know what? Someone once said to me, "You don't want a boring child.
No,
you don't want a boring child." And having these children who are full of personality, it's so funny. I just like, you're the same. I know you are. You just die of laughter at them all the time.
All the time.
So funny.
The other night, Stanley, he wouldn't go to sleep, and he used to be such a good sleeper, but now my mum said I was exactly the same, like really good sleeper up until I was about 2, and then it was like too clever in the finding reasons not to.
Yeah.
And the other day,
I need medicine, my throat hurts.
I need a water, Mummy.
I need a wee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Yeah. And I said to him, okay, Sonny, you lay down and close your eyes, and Mummy's going to count to 10 and try and get you to sleep. And then I thought he actually needs a teddy. So I said, actually, you can get a teddy. So he sat up, still with his eyes closed, trying to find a teddy. But he knew what he was doing because he was like laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously, always try not to laugh in these situations.
Yeah, you're trying to do the Brits, like
cackling. He like knew that he'd like got his
Yeah.
audience going. But he's been like that since he was like sort of less than a year. Like if he knows he's done something that an audience will like, he'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
And if people don't clap, he's
star.
like, cool. But my mum used to like be driven to distraction by me and my brother, like performing stuff in the kitchen. And you know, once we wanted a chihuahua, Mum said no, so we got the big speaker. We followed her around going da 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 da, da chihuahua.
And did you get one?
No.
That's
still son chihuahua. And so she locked herself in her bedroom to get away from us. So we got the huge,
I actually feel that in my soul.
like Bluetooth
I really do.
speaker,
Being
and
locked in
put
your
it
bedroom
at the bottom of her door and put chihuahua on repeat. Like just because we decided we wanted a chihuahua that day.
that you never got.
But we always used to say, like, what would you want boring children?
Never.
No.
Never. Last night, Adam's away at the moment, and I like to say that I'm an independent woman, but I really actually do crumble without him. I really miss him. Sometimes I hate him. Okay, I'm open about that. It's fine. Like sometimes I sit there, I'm like, where is he going to live? Because I hate him so much right now. But then other times I'm like, I cannot live without him. I cannot live without him. And I can't sleep without him. And I find it is hard. You know, when you're on your own, I really like look up to single mums because it's hard. Last night, I'm finally sitting down. It's 8 o'clock. I'm eating dinner on my own. I'm like scrolling through TikTok, doing my own thing. And I just look over and there's this little face in the dark, by the way. Do you know how petrifying that is? Through the banister, like this. And I caught the biggest fight. Mummy, said, I thought you were asleep. Mummy, I'm hungry. So you've had 2 dinners already. And then it's like just trying to, the whole, you know, what you're saying with Sandy, like laughing, whatever. You know, she had a bit of toast. I'm really hungry, then didn't want it anymore. I don't want that. I'm not hungry for that. I want biscuits. I want ice cream. I want a yogurt. Anyway, she went to bed at 9:30.
Yeah.
And I had to stroke her to sleep. So I didn't have an evening.
But I suppose you probably have to get up to take them to school and stuff. But I was going to say, if they go to bed late, do they sleep in late? because that's the one thing. If Stanley's playing up a little bit and like trying to be funny and
Well, he
saying,
still
like,
wakes up really early.
No, he lies in. So I'm
So
like,
you
do you know what? Actually,
okay, good.
that's fine. He can lie in, and that's all right.
Romy this morning, Romy went to bed at 7. She's a baby. She's only 21 months. But if she wakes up in the night, even if it's for 5 minutes, she lays in like a teenager. So she went to bed at 7. She woke up at 2:30. She wanted some more water, filled up her bottle with water, gave her a quick cuddle, put her back down. That was about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I woke her up at 9 today. And I know that some people are going to hate me for saying that because my nieces and nephews all wake up at 6 and all my friends' kids wake up at 6. But I will say my kids are full of sass, they're full of attitude, and sometimes I'm very scared of them. But they sleep in like teenagers.
Yeah. How do you balance doing all your social media and being a stay-at-home mum? Because I don't know whether it comes from the age of 18, I was cabin crew, so all the mums that I came into contact with day to day were either a mum or they were at work. So they and like a lot of them moved to ground jobs from flying, and they could not fathom that now they had to get up in the morning, be a mum for 3 hours, then work all day, and then be a mum again because they were so used to either being a mum or being at work. So I tend to try and I have my days where I have childcare, and I get all my work done on those days. So then I have my
full day, like 2 days or something.
2 days a week. So at the moment I have 2 days in the week, and then obviously the weekend with Sam as well, where I sort of, if there's something really needs my attention, I can do it. But I try just to
switch off, just be a mum,
just be with him, because I've then been so productive on my 3 days of doing work.
It's so hard. It's really, literally, whilst I'm listening to you talk, I think the problem that I find online for me is that I've kind of branded myself as a stay-at-home mum, and I'm not really a stay-at-home mum anymore because this is my content creating is my full-time job, and especially in the last few months, it now has actually become my full-time job. Every single day, I'm filming or I'm editing or I'm here, like whatever it is, and I get comments sometimes saying, "Oh, well, you were at this event," or, you were, where were your kids on this day? And I'm just like, I always feel guilty because I'm trying to do both. And it's really difficult to do both. And just like you with Romy, she is actually at nursery 2 days a week. And she's now has just started 3 days a week. And on the other 2 days, I've got her all to myself, and I just do not work. And my management team are amazing, and they know that is the case. They know that is the case, because if I need to, leave an event because one of the kids is ill, or I need to pick them up from school, or I'm just with them, they know to just like leave me be. And it's really hard. Yeah. It's really hard. Gigi's in preschool, so she's now at school every day from 9 until 4. So she's out the house, and she loves it. And it was really hard when she started preschool this year, because I was suddenly like, you've gone from 2 days to being in preschool every day. And I just feel like I'm constantly juggling. I don't really have an answer for you, because I really do genuinely feel like I'm either working too much and I'm not with my kids enough, or I'm with my kids enough and then I'm like, avoiding work.
Should I be doing more work?
And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, if I don't film any ads this week, I'm not going to get paid. But then I'm like, but I want to be with my children. It's really, really hard. I don't think that there is a right answer. I don't think there is any mum in the world that doesn't feel guilty at some point in the day. Yeah. Genuinely. I feel like I'm constantly feeling guilty. Like when I said goodbye to Romy this morning, I was like, I promise you, Mummy's gonna, she doesn't really understand much, but I was like, Mummy and Romy are gonna have the best Mummy and Romy day tomorrow. We're gonna go and do whatever you want. And she was like, Mama.
This thing, I always say to Stanley, I go into his room, I'm like, Stanley, do you know what day it is today? And he goes, our day.
Oh, so like Gigi's old enough to say Mummy and Gigi day, but Romy's just, she's very young, but I do, even at that young age, you can see how happy they are to have you to themselves and to just be doing, whether it's music or soft play or like even just like at home playing.
Yeah. But as well, I do think
Gigi understands that Mummy works. She obviously understands that Daddy works, but Daddy goes to an office. Mummy works from her phone. Mm. And I actually said to her yesterday, I said, Gigi, what does Mummy do for work? And she goes, Mummy makes videos. And I was like, that could be interpreted in a lot of different ways. Maybe don't tell your teachers that. But that's how she knows that Mummy makes videos for her job. But she says, Mummy, you're on your phone. And sometimes if I'm just on my phone, just texting someone back, she goes, "Mummy, no work now."
Oh.
And I go, "Oh, I was just texting Daddy or whatever," but okay. And you have to be conscious. Doing content creating as a job, you're on your phone all the time.
It's hard because it's really interesting when you say about, people say to you, oh, when you're in an event, like, where are your kids? Who's got your kids and stuff? Because people do it with me when I do the Love Island podcast and stuff. I can't believe you drive.
But they would never say it to your husband. They would never say it. Nobody would ever say it to a dad. They just wouldn't, because I think there's this stigma that working mums can't possibly be good mums, if that makes sense, because they're working, but then they're also mums. But I actually think, like, you are showing very clearly that you are an amazing mum and you are an amazing working mum. Like, you can do both, but with that comes the guilt, which Adam doesn't get. He goes to work, he switches off from everything, goes to work, goes to his office, gets to go out for a coffee, gets to go for a little walk, comes back, comes home, and then he's in dad mode again. Whereas for us, you never switch off.
Yeah.
If right now I got called from Gigi's camp and said, Gigi's not feeling well, I would have to go and pick her up, because I'm the one that has to be at the beck and call, obviously, because I am the mother and I want it to be that way. But yeah, Adam's not like that. It's really hard. Yeah. There is no straightforward, this is the right recipe to make working and being a mum right. I think you just have to do the best you can. You need to spend as much time as you possibly can, with your kids without your phone. But also, working is good for you. If I wasn't working, I don't know what I would do. No. I need to be doing something.
Same. I couldn't be not working. I couldn't be at home all the time.
And earning your own money. It's good. Exactly. It's a nice feeling.
Exactly.
It's a really good feeling.
Obviously, we both love working, but for some people, being a stay-at-home mum is everything they've ever wanted to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do just want to be a stay-at-home mum. And I don't want to say just a stay-at-home mum, because being a stay-at-home mum is amazing. You get to be with your kids all the time.
I think it works out the hours you work is equivalent to 3 full-time jobs.
Oh,
yeah. Stay-at-home mum.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
And the stress levels as well. The stress levels of a stay-at-home mum are more than a banker in the city. Way more. Yeah. 100 times more. My sister's a stay-at-home mum. My mum is a stay-at-home mum. And my mum always says to me, oh, you're working again. You're working again. She doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And I said, this is my personal choice. This is what I like doing. But I also completely get why people wouldn't want to do it either.
Yeah.
And they want to be at home. And I totally get that.
My friends that stay at home mums are amazing, and they are the most amazing mums. And I think what you do every day is out of this world.
Yeah.
It's as well. I just think quality time. So I remember when Stanley was a baby and I had to pack for holiday, and I said on my Instagram story, my mum's got Stanley for 3 hours because I've got to pack for holiday. Someone was like, oh, palming him off with your mum again. And I was like, so he gets 3 hours of quality time
with his grandparents.
With his grandparents. Probably my auntie will come round, or my grandparents will come round,
getting whatever he wants, eating whatever he wants.
He gets proper sort of enrichment. I always enrichment is my big thing, and I'm he gets proper enrichment while I'm packing. If he's with me while I'm packing, he is lying under the baby
attention, exactly.
Or he's watching Pepper while I'm packing, because I've got to do that. And I'm a big believer in that. And people say what do you even do for a job? You should be able to have your baby at home with you. Why? What? People are so obsessed with the fact that my mum helps me so much with childcare.
I know,
and I think when I was a kid,
so much as well, and I think that it's great to have a good support network around you, because also kids love being with their grandparents. I don't know about you, but my best memories as a child are being with my grandparents, because we had midnight feasts and we would jump on the bed and we would do all the things that we couldn't do at home. Yeah. And I see that with my kids.
When I used to at my granny and granddad's, my granddad used to get chucked out to the spare room so that me and my brother could sleep in the bed with my granny. And I think now oh my God, how much did our granny love us that she wanted us so close to her.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, so when my mum went back to work when I was a kid, I did 2 days with my nanny and 2 days with my granny, and my mum had a Friday off. And then we would spend that Friday with my nan. And when my brother was born, my granny, my dad's mum, would phone my mum and say, how did you sleep last night? And mum was like, not great. And she's like, okay, cool. Well, I'll come and take Amy to the farm today. Yeah. And then when Sam sleeps, my brother's called Sam as well. Oh
my God.
Brother and husband, both called Sam. So then when Sam's asleep, then you can sleep as well. Yeah. If I put on Instagram, I didn't have a great night's sleep tonight, so my mum's come and taken Sandy, everyone would be like, oh
my God, why do you need to know?
But the upshot of me spending 4 days with my grandparents as a kid was, drum roll please, I am best friends with my nan and granddad, and I was best friends with my granny and granddad before they passed away. And I had such an amazing bond with them. So why would I not want to replicate that?
And you also knew at the same time that your mum loved you so much, but she was working.
Yeah.
And when you were alone with her, I bet you had the best time ever, and you did amazing things together.
I have a memory, and I know it's a memory because obviously there's no like photos or videos of it. I remember saying to my mum, "Why don't you work on a Friday?" Oh no, actually, I think it was once I'd started going to nursery, or going to preschool. I said, "Why don't I go to preschool on a Friday?" And she was like, "Because I'd miss you too much."
Oh,
and I remember that. And then
conversation.
there's no video of that. There's no photo of that. So I know that was a conversation that we had. And I think like with Stanley, it's like I work so that you can have an amazing life. So you get amazing opportunities.
Yeah.
But I also love our days together as well. And I think that's like the best way to balance it.
I 100% agree. And I just think that you've got to do what's best for you and your family, and like working and providing for your family is only going to make their lives better. You get to take them on like amazing trips and adventures and whatever it is that you can do for them. Like ignore the haters. It's hard to ignore the haters. I'm not very good at ignoring the haters. I do cry sometimes, but I know that what I'm doing is right for me and my family. And at the end of the day, like, you know that you're a good mother and you love your kids more than anything in the world.
My husband frames it really well. Like if someone slags me off for something for my mum having Stanley, Sam's like, maybe their mum
doesn't help them.
I don't want to help.
Yeah.
I'm not being a babysitter. I'm a grandmother. I'm not a babysitter.
Exactly.
And then they see you being like, oh yeah, mum's come round to help with Stanley again. Like, I've got to do this. And mum's going to, my mum's phoned up and offered to, my dad does that. So my dad's phoned up and offered to have Stanley. He's like, maybe they don't have that. And that's why they then take it out on you.
That's exactly what it is. Because I think we're very lucky that we have our parents to help us. I don't know if you've got your in-laws as well to help you. When Gigi was first born, she was the first grandchild on both sides. Yeah. They would fight over her to the point where me and Adam literally were like, we can't handle this. Like, our parents are going to end up hating each other because they're literally like, oh no, but we said that we would take Gigi to the farm. No, but we said we were going to take her to soft play, or we said we were going to take her to. It was like insane. And now that there's actually more grandchildren, it's a lot easier. But we were very, very, very lucky. They've always been around to help us.
Yeah. So my in-laws my in-laws live 2 hours away. But things like if Sam's going up to Hertfordshire to sort of pick up a stag do, they'll say, "Oh, what's Stanley's plans when you're on the stag do?"
We have
and Sam's like, "Well, he's just with Amy," and they're like, "Could you ask Amy if it's all right if we have Stanley for the 3 days?"
That's so nice.
And I'm like,
how amazing is that?
Because again, they live 2 hours away, so I'm very I'm very conscious of the fact that they don't see
him as much as your parents.
My parents, and I want him to have an amazing relationship with both sides.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my God, please take him, have the best 3 days, because they love him so much. And I actually put on my Instagram story once, like, I'm getting Stanley back today. He's with my amazing in-laws for 3 days. Like, it was such a lovely time for him to have with them.
Please tell me you didn't get loads of him.
No, people messaging me saying,
so lucky that you've got in-laws.
As a mother-in-law, thank you so much for talking about this, because we're not allowed to do that, and
because there's lots of people that don't get on with their mother-in-laws
or their parents as well.
Parents, Anyway, take the help. Everyone needs a bit of help.
Yeah, exactly. Someone said to me when I was pregnant, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is
take the help.
Take the help that's offered to you, because people are either offering because they want to do it, or if they're just saying it, they deserve to be punished for just saying it. I don't mean.
Yeah, no, you do need to take the help. Like when the baby, I feel like every mother feels this way when their babies are first born. But like even people like cooking you dinner, or like I remember some of my friends got me a Deliveroo. Sorry, I just touched this. Sorry, stop touching the microphone. Some of my friends, when we had Gigi, because it was lockdown, got us delivery credit. And I was like, that is the best newborn present ever. Yes. Like, I couldn't cook. I was like this. Adam wasn't going to cook because he can cook. He can cook a little bit, okay? But he wasn't going to cook. And just a little bit of help. Like sometimes like my friends would come over, they would hold the baby whilst I showered.
Yes.
One day I remember my mum coming over and she went, "For God's sake, Gemma, go and wash your hair." And I was like,
smell it.
I was like, really? Is it really that bad? She was like, "You haven't washed your hair since you came out of hospital." It's like day 6. I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." So I went and had a shower while she just held Gigi. Like, take the help. Like, if you can get it, like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like,
And if you've got friends that have had babies, like say, like everyone loves a baby cuddle.
Everyone loves a baby cuddle
and hold the baby.
Say, go and shower, go do your hair.
It's so
go
funny
shake your legs.
because like there's all the stuff on Instagram now about like, oh, you can't ask to hold people's babies, and you know, you shouldn't like you should wait to be offered and stuff. I went round to 2 friends who had babies around the same time, and
you
the
were like,
first
"Give me the
one,
baby?"
the first one, I hadn't even sat down and I'd passed the baby, and the other one I didn't, and I said to another friend like, oh yeah, I went round to see and I didn't get. Oh no, you have to ask. You have to ask because before she had children, she wasn't that interested in holding a baby, and people used to throw their babies at her. So she worries that you're not going to want to hold the baby. So if you want to hold the baby, so now whenever I see her, I'm like, give me the baby, please.
Yeah. Okay.
There's all the stuff on Instagram about you should never.
I just think too much advice. There's too much advice on Instagram and TikTok, and I think there's too many opinions. And I think that, you know, in this like motherhood world, you are alone a lot, whether it's like night feeds or it's like, you know, you're just sitting on the couch with your newborn or whatever it is, you know, you're just at home like trapped by the nap or whatever it is. You do go to Instagram, and I do think you need to like try and cut out some of the opinions and take what works for you, because like something that worked for you might not have worked for me. Do you know what I mean? And vice versa. Anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd put that in.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, before I had Stan, everyone's got white noise machines. And I was like, I mean, we never had them as kids, and we still slept, and I never used one, but it's because I hate white noise. Like, literally, I would rather swelter in the car than have the aircon on because of the noise, because I like to be able to hear my podcasts.
You just sit,
and the oven's still, even I've turned the oven off and it's still making the noise.
Isn't like that? Surely that's like a phobia of like noise. That must be like an actual thing.
You've got it's not that I don't like it, but like when the oven stops making the noise, I'm like, silence in my life again. I love it. I think
you're just a mum that just likes to be in silence. I think that's actually probably quite normal. The minute I'm alone and it's quiet, I'm like my body tingles. I'm like,
it's because I'm a real people person, but I also love being alone. And I think that's for being crew, because you're with the crew all the time, but then also going up to your room, you're on your own. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been amazing. It's been I feel like we've really got on our soapboxes. It's been amazing.
Yeah. This has been so nice. Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Well, that's it for another week of Amy Hart's Mums Club. Thank you so much to Gemma for joining us today. Don't forget, you check out all our old episodes wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on socials at Amy Hart's Mums Club, everywhere for the podcast, and at Amy Hart XO for me on Instagram. Next week, we're back with another fabulous guest. And if you've got any questions for me or any of our guests, you can email them to amyhartsmumsclub@news.co.uk. And I will see you next week.